So the study that we're here to talk about today is really about juror perceptions of child resistance
Yes.
in a rape case, in a projected rape case, and the connection of those perceptions and misperceptions to the ultimate outcome at trial. And
Right.
I feel like I want to set this up a little bit by also saying, because some of our listeners may be survivors, I mean, it's always maddening when you have to talk about issues around child resistance because, this can be very triggering for survivors. And we are not implying, neither Jonathan nor myself, that kids have to or should expect to resist. But this is still an important research project. And I think really gives us some insight into jurors' thinking, which is why we're covering it today. So, Jonathan, can you just talk a little bit about, from the outset, lots of people who listen to this podcast may not know much about what the literature has been, even predating your study, about juror sort of perceptions on this topic. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
People might think that every time a child alleges abuse, it gets to court. And that's not happening, because people have to understand that for a prosecutor to bring a case, they have to have a strong case. Problem is, in child cases, there often is not a lot of evidence. People have been swayed a lot too by what's called the CSI effect from shows like CSI, all the different iterations. They think, oh, there's always evidence, there's always DNA evidence. And that is just not true. So when children do allege to be abused, first the prosecutor has to decide to bring that case. And if a child is brought to court, the problem is that there are many what we would call extra legal factors that are outside of the legal system that come into play on how a child is going to be perceived in court. One big one is juror gender. It's been a very robust finding that females who are serving as jurors, and again, these are mock jurors in our mock trial studies, believe victims much more than males. There's a lot of hypotheses about it. One is simply, as I assume many of your viewers know, that women are victims as children of sexual assault more than males and little boys. So one argument is that women identify with victims more than males, and because in the majority of cases, males are the perpetrators, male jurors identify with a perpetrator and feel, oh, wait, that could be me. And they sort of are hesitant to believe the child. So you get factors like that come into play.